0.64%. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Dari Odufookon. Jide, you had your fair share of the aviation industry yesterday. They peppered you.
So when people say these things, you think there is an exaggeration.
Oh, I told you that he wrote it that he slept to the airport, that, look, he blacklisted a particular airline, that please avoid it. I just looked at it and I said...
It will even be the same airline because I usually don't fly them. But I didn't want my flight to be broken into two. So I could have gone to Abuja and then wait at the departure lounge for like 2-3 hours to
the normal
flight to Lagos. But I preferred direct flight. So I said, okay, let me drive to Kano from Katsina. See,
yes,
just 2 hours.
Yes.
Okay.
Then
take a direct flight. But from 7:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m. We kept waiting. They now told us, oh, it will come at 10 past 10. We waited again, it didn't come. It didn't come until around 1 o'clock.
Midnight.
1 a.m. So 1 a.m., got there, refueling and all that, wasted time again.
And I saw the aircraft.
Then we landed at 2:25.
In Lagos.
2:25, clearly there was no driver to bring our luggage. Because everywhere was just quiet. Staff had slept off and all that. So we waited for another 35 minutes. By the time I got to this area, it was around 4 a.m.
Now waking up.
I said, what is all this? For a 7:30 flight.
I think it just headlines the crisis we have on our hand. I've been a victim once, had to sleep in the airport too, and the funny part of it is that nobody gets reprimanded even for this.
No, we've gone
and it's as if they expect us.
No explanation.
No, they expect us to know that it should happen. Gone are those days. I remember in the past when things like this happen, the airline will rush to provide accommodation, to apologize, to explain, and the next day you will see statements in the media. But now I think
in the US, if you suffer a delay of 1 hour,
you can go to
or even 40 minutes, they will ask you whether you would want a refund,
or get
a refund of the ticket. But
nobody will
not even bother. Nobody even bother to explain what's going on.
Till the next day we were there. No explanation. Even when the plane landed around 2 or so, that same midnight, ordinarily they should come and tell us, sorry, the plane is here, but we can't go.
We have to start the program.
We left 10 the next morning. We just find out with others as if it's the normal thing.
It is the normal. So terrible things are becoming normal now.
No, in this country.
Welcome.
So that's just one of it.
Thanks.
So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. Stay with us. Let's begin with justice, which has been served on one of Nigeria's most notorious kidnappings. That's the Federal High Court in Abuja has sentenced Hamisu Bala, also known as Wadume, two others to 7 years imprisonment. Justice Binta Murtala Yako convicted Wadume of 2 of the 13 charges leveled against him. The court also convicted Aliyu Daje, a police inspector, to 3 years imprisonment for tampering with the record to conceal a crime. Wadume and others were charged with kidnapping, murder, terrorism, and possession of illegal arms following the killing of 3 IRT police officers and 2 civilians on the 6th of August 2019 by some soldiers. Jide, we said it when this thing happened in 2019 that we are not going to leave this case until we see that justice is served. Today, the slow acts of that, with this thing, my grant, so where did they put it? But definitely, it has been served.
The will of justice grinds slowly.
Slowly, but definitely it has been served now.
Yes, but many Nigerians expected the judgment to be stiffer than what we got. I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. Because in the same country where Baba Ijesha will be sentenced to 16 years for attempted sexual assault. He didn't rape. He didn't rape. An attempt in the eyes of the law, an attempt at sexual assault of a minor has been jailed for that length of time. And then Wadume, described as a notorious kidnapper. Maybe the case was bungled because, just as the former chief CJN said, a case is like building a house. If the foundation is good, chances are that you will sort. If you build a case of faulty foundation, you don't expect the judge to now help you. No. So he said that before, because sometimes people will ask questions, why didn't they sentence this person to death? Why didn't this happen? But you are not part of the trial. It is the fact before the judge that will enable the judge decide the fairest way to handle the matter. So in this case, I don't know if the matter was bungled and the facts presented before the judge were not sufficient for the judge to deliver a much more, give him a stiffer punishment. Because this is not what we expected. 7 years, and given the fact that he's been detained for some time, he's not going to spend this...
another 3 years.
He's not going to spend all that time in jail. So,
look at him, he's not even remorseful.
No, because he will tell himself that he will, by now he will have known when he will come out.
He's not even wearing a very fine shirt. Look at what do you mean?
So the thing is, the one that really bothered me is the role of this Inspector Daje.
Yes.
Daje was station officer at EB Divisional Police Headquarters. He tampered with the entry made by the leader of the IRT, which indicted the Captain Tijani Balarabe and his team of committing terrorism by killing those policemen. Officers. So that particular entry, knowing that Balarabe had been indicted, he decided to tear that page of the entry into the police records. He decided to tear that page. So he was jailed 3 years. We have asked the question repeatedly, where is Captain Balarabe? Captain Balarabe, I think the army was not convinced that Balarabe was an accomplice. What some people told me in Abuja when I was investigating this story was that in Ibi, many people did not know that Wadume was a kidnapper, that even the captain himself did not know. That when they were taking him away, he was raising alarm that he had been kidnapped. And unfortunately, the policemen didn't stop at the first checkpoint. They didn't stop. So at the next one, they opened fire on them. So it's like, according to army officers I spoke with, that Balarabe was close to this person, just the same way they post you to somewhere. And some of the civilians there, you will be close to them, they play competitions, you join them. They were saying that they were convinced that Balarabe did not even know that this fellow was a kidnapper.
Okay.
Yes.
So the police were hoping that the court will order the Chief of Army Staff to produce Balarabe in court in order to ensure that that didn't happen. The attorney
substance of the case, and this is where we are.
Yeah, this is where we are, and this is sad for us. You see, for a country that is battling insurgency, banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, when we allow things like this to happen, we are telling the world that we are not ready to end our problems. We're actually telling the people that the authority is not in a hurry to see an end to kidnapping. But women like the man in Lagos, what's the name of the other? Evans, are celebrated kidnappers. And these are cases that Nigerians and the world over will be hoping we will use to establish our determination. If kidnappers in the forest hear this news that Wadume will go to 7 years, remove 3 years from 7 years, and the usual counting of the in another 2.5 years, he will be out, probably to continue his business. His investments are waiting to enjoy his loot.
Because if you remember, Jide,
if that
there was one transaction that was said he collected 100 million.
There was another transaction. There was another transaction.
The shocking thing is, he was not even convicted for kidnapping.
So that's why if you look at it.
Okay, illegal dealing in prohibited arms and escaping from lawful custody. Those were the 2 grounds upon which.
That is why I want to agree. I want to agree with BKO that this case must have been bungled. Was it bungled mistakenly or intentionally? That's another question. Because how could you have a case as clear
what
as
did they plead before the judge?
Then the Attorney General of the Federation, who took over the case, his office prosecuted this person. What was the interest one? Then what relationship existed all through this case between him and the police? Don't forget, the police is a seriously interested party. They lost men, and I'm sure in the spirit of esprit they want to ensure that this man gets
justice.
The worst punishment he can get. But if we want to say this case is bungled, from which quarters?
Let me take this call. Prince Enaro is calling us from Ojodu. Thank you for joining us, Prince. Hello, Prince Enaro. Okay. I'm having difficulty connecting him. Okay. Julie, so it's not a straightforward case.
No, we
are not satisfied.
We are not. We need to do more investigation. You know, even the judgment came as a surprise to people. We didn't know.
Nobody knew it was coming
honestly,
up.
I didn't even know that this case was.
Very people knew it was coming up.
Media was not covering it. Or did you hear?
No, it was
we know I don't know what.
Those are the questions we asked.
The child was frustrated.
Yes. So what is going on? Are they saying that particular billionaire that he collected 106 million from, are they saying that
it didn't come forward?
It didn't happen? Because the part of the charge was that he collected the money before releasing the man. You know? But this was not even what I heard earlier. You know? Even from the police. What we heard earlier was that this guy will take money and still kill people. So we don't know. If Wadume was described as a kidnapper, how come we could not even secure his conviction for kidnapping? We are now securing his conviction from escaping from lawful custody and illegal dealing in arms. Firearms. Those were not even, remotely connected.
Nobody is thinking about that.
In this same country where some people are sentenced to death for kidnapping, some to life imprisonment for kidnapping, someone will now get just 7 years.
Meaning he was not prosecuted for kidnapping.
No, he was not.
So what happened to the evidences presented?
The judge discharged him on
that. They said 2 out of 13. He was convicted for 2.
Ayo, you know, we always said here that let's not be too quick to imagine that a case will go along this line. When the other day we were talking about the Accountant General of the Federation, less than 2 weeks after, we are hearing that they are talking about plea bargaining. And the thing is, by the plea bargaining law, the man, in exchange for not wasting the time of the court, he can forfeit the billions that he stole, and he will walk away. It happened in the case of the former Controller General of Customs, Diko Inde, who is now dead. The EFCC was handling the matter. One day in court, the office of the Attorney General showed up and told the EFCC, hand over. because we started talking to him, he wants to return what he stole. Hand over. The EFCC were shocked.
But they have no choice.
But they have no choice because the powers of the Accountant General, Attorney General, ensure that he can discontinue any criminal case without anybody raising a finger.
For prosecution, approves fiat.
You can say, okay, we no more prosecution. What are you going to do? The law permits him to do that. So you will just be helpless. EFCC will be helpless. That look, this case that we had a sleepless night on, somebody will show up in court and say.
It's the same thing in the case of this Wajume guy. How do you think the colleagues of the slain policemen will feel?
Honestly,
after it all, we lost men. We were on this man because he was taking lives and collecting money. We got him. We lost our own men. We finally
he was not indicted.
And now
for him to
this is what he got. 7 years.
For the IRT team to have gone all the way
they must have been
from
on
Abuja to Taraba State. This guy must have been a hardened.
They must have been on his trail for some time.
If it's someone that is so difficult to prove a case of kidnapping against him, I don't think the IRT team will go all the way to one of the farthest points in our country.
Even after his arrest, the facts that emerged from the police, from his victims, and so are enough to say, look, we are trying this guy for terrorism. But what do we have on our hand? I think somebody should offer an explanation. I think we should not end this matter this way.
No.
As
journalists are trained to ask questions.
We must ask questions. The office of the Attorney General should help us with answers to certain puzzles.
Maybe we don't know certain things.
Like you always want.
Yes,
maybe there are things not clear to us.
All right.
We want to know. We want to know.
Moving on now. The Atiku and Wike debacle is still a tasty and frosty situation for the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP. The party is still preoccupied with resolving issues between Governor Wike and its presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. The PDP national chairman, Senator Iyorchia Ayu, said he has no plan to resign his position as demanded by some members led by Governor Wike. In a statement by his special advisor on media and communication, Simon Imobo Sawana, the People's Democratic Party chairman insisted that he will run out his 4 years as stipulated by Section 45 and Section 47 of the PDP Constitution. Julie, so we know that demand number one of the Atiku and Wike party people was that, look, everything is looking lopsided. We want this power to be reversed, and we can't have a presidential candidate from the north, and we have the chairman of the party from the north. That Iyorchia Ayu must first step down. That's demand number one. And Iyorchia Ayu is saying that, look, I've been elected for a 4 years as stipulated by the law.
Well, Secondus too boasted that he will not leave. But see there today. He boasted, even sued them. But see there today. My problem with political leaders is the greed for power. PDP has a tradition. That tradition is clear. That when a presidential candidate emerges from one zone, either north or south, then the national chairman of the party will come from
the other zone.
Yaradua was president. He died untimely. He died in office. Jonathan stepped in as president. That forced the PDP to remove the national chairman of the party, who was a southerner, and installed a northerner in his place. So, I don't, and it is not Wike alone who is thinking that, in the interest of fairness, that tradition has to be maintained. Look at someone like Kawu Baraje. Kawu Baraje came out to say, look, we can't at this stage now throw away tradition. This is what we've always done. Kawu Baraje was a national chairman of the PDP. So this is what we've always done. If we did it to Ogbulafor left the thing, why should someone else, why should Yochi Ayu now say it's going nowhere? You know, at the time when they conducted the convention of the party, no one knew who would become the candidate. Now the candidate has come from the north. All that they need to do is to revert to tradition. Let the South produce the chairman. That way, everyone will feel that, yes, this is a party for us, and they will be happy. But to continue to hold on to the national chairmanship, hold on to the presidential candidacy of the party, I don't think it's right. So if there's anything that Wike is fighting for that makes sense among all the demands, this is probably one of them. And like I said earlier, it's not Wike alone who thinks that it's an aberration for you to remain in office when the presidential candidate of the party is from the north. And even the Wike said earlier that even the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum is also someone from the north. So it is strange to some people that the South has more governors
in the party.
In the party. Yet it's that same South that appears to be getting the short end of the stick. Many of them felt that what the APC governors from the north did was what should have happened in the PDP.
Would have been that noble.
If it had happened in the PDP, it would not shock us because the majority of them are from the south. But here we are in the APC. The majority of the governors are from the north, yet they were the ones who championed rotation of power to the south. In the PDP constitution, it is enshrined that power shall be rotated. But right now, that section of their constitution has been ignored.
This kind of crisis happening some months to the presidential election. What do you make of it?
The PDP is troubled. The PDP is obviously troubled, and they are lucky due to this chance given by the new arrangement.
Yes,
we have months to the election.
Yes.
If we were to be what's obtained in the past,
that's 3 months.
The party is, it's done. It's done in. But I still believe that as a party that is serious about taking over the presidency, they may find a way around it. But I tell you, unless Wike is pacified, people will have problem. There is this pop artist that say, "Oh man, no problem." PDP will have serious problem. A look at what is happening will reveal that a lot of people in PDP, the governors, the chieftains, are hypocrites, especially from the south. I'll tell you. The moment they allowed tradition to be ignored, and leading to the emergence of a northern presidential candidate, they lost it. Because the PDP is one party that has entrenched in its constitution all that it wants to do. One is rotation of power. By their constitution, the South should be producing the presidential candidate of the party. Somehow, they ended up throwing it open. Some of these people now complaining that we can't have it this way, supported the emergence of a northern presidential candidate. Some of them even ran from the north to contest the election. That is one. Two, the governors from the south were so divided that they allowed the north to take the presidential ticket from them. Now, talking about Ayu, it is not just, as BKO said, the tradition. There was an agreement. A man's words should be his bond. I covered the events leading to his emergence as national chairman of the party. And I recall that Wike, ironically, was one of those rooting for Ayu, working behind the scene and openly for him. At a point, the same Wike answered the question about what happens if a northerner emerges on behalf of Ayu when he first said, in Benue, it was in Benue, with Otto, when he said, they have spoken with our intended national chairman, and he has said, if by any mistake a northerner emerges as presidential candidate, he would resign from office. 2 days later, Ayu himself was in Abuja, and he reiterated Wike's position that yes, we have an understanding to respect the party's constitution and to allay the fears of southerners who are saying the emergence of Ayu is a ploy. To allay the fears of northerners who are saying the emergence of Ayu is a ploy to ensure the ticket for the south. Now he said, no. If the northerner emerges, I will resign. He said it himself. So if we are at this point now, and Ayu is saying he's elected for a 4-year term, that's the constitution. If he is elected, he has a 4-year term. What happens to those agreements? One. What happens to the conditions?
No PDP governor has lasted 4 years. No PDP
national chairman. Secondus was elected for 4 years.
None of them has lasted 4 years.
was elected for 4 years. Amadou Ali, none of them had stayed for 4 years.
Let's quickly take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. Stay with us.
TVC News first with breaking news.
We cover the big political stories in Nigeria, but people want more than just politics.
Business news, sports naturally, but you need news to live by also.
Stories about education, health, personal finance, and hey, even lifestyle news.
Newspaper reviews, travel news, and much more.
Nigeria. It's more than just politics. It's life.
Start your day with us every weekday.
TVC News Breakfast. First, fast, balanced, and accurate.
TVC News first with breaking news.
The TVC News at 7 and the TVC News at 10 are not like any other news broadcast.
It's the big news hour, the hour for the big breaking stories.
We've got some of the best.
Yes, welcome back. We are looking at the intra-party crisis within the People's Democratic Party. Jide, do you think we somehow, yesterday I asked my guest do you think we are fair to Atiku Abubakar? Atiku Abubakar ran against Wike in the primary election, somebody that we went to war together. He's not obliged in any way to make him his deputy.
No. So I don't think.
And do you think if you have the choice of choosing between Atiku and Okowa, that's between Okowa and Wike, who will you choose?
You are Atiku.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, so you are now imagining the BDP presidential. See, if I were in Atiku's shoes, I would not pick Wike. I said it before here. He had his reasons for picking Okowa. He had his reasons. And look, the candidate should have the power to choose whoever he likes. But this matter is beyond him not choosing Wike. Wike's own concern was that after he lost to Atiku, the Atiku has made no direct effort to reach out to him. He said he visited on that day, but he visited with other people, that no direct contact had happened. And I think that Atiku was wrong in doing that.
Don't you think Wike has been behaving like a bad loser?
No.
He has not recovered from his loss.
Oh, there are other people too who have not recovered from Tinubu defeating them at... There should be this one even hosted them. He hosted them in his house. He hosted them in his house. I don't think it's simply, because he lost. I think that he is not trashing around like a baby that his candy was taken away. there are some fundamental issues that he wants addressed. If he said, look, there has been no direct
communication,
contact between the two of them since that defeat, then Atiku clearly did not do the right thing. You know the person that you are dealing with, you know the kind of person that he is. You are going to do your best to placate him. So you just do your best. This person we know is problematic. Let me manage him properly. They've not managed Wike properly. People can say what they like. People should realize that when most of them were abandoning the party, he stood behind the party and funded it more than any of them. So he sees himself as a factor in the party. He sees himself not as somebody that you can simply brush aside. No, he's bigger than someone that you can simply brush aside. So after losing the election, yes, they came to his house in a large crowd. He had the crowd. They followed him to the place. But he's saying since that time, one-on-one,
direct communication.
I mean, is it so bad? Didn't we see even Anashiwaju after he won the election? He was the one going to them,
and holding close door meetings.
Even to somebody who didn't get a single vote, he still went to visit him in his house. Not that that person is such a factor. He didn't score a single vote, but he still went to. He didn't see any of them as too small. You understand? So this is the thing. Did Wike lie against him? That since he came with those people that day, he had not made any one-to-one effort to talk to him? Somebody that you need his resources.
Don't you think he's holding that party to ransom?
Say,
Wike.
Oh, I cannot deny that in the past I've seen him hold the party to ransom. But in politics, it is the interest of the individual politicians that matter. So he's trying to protect his interest and the interest of people who are loyal to him. There are many people who will not talk. They will leave Wike to do the talking. But within them, they know that he's fighting their fight. Because how can you, do you think many of those southern governors are happy that presidential candidate is from the north and the national chairman is from the north? You think they are happy? They may not like to talk, but they are happy that at least somebody is fronting that battle. So you have a governor in Enugu, for example, who will not speak his mind. It's not everybody who can talk, who will talk like Wike. But it doesn't mean they are against him. How many of them have come out publicly to say, you are fighting the wrong fight, let it remain in the north? Tell me if you've seen any southern governor who has said that.
I have Adisa from Lagos.
Hello.
Thank you, Adisa. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
Good evening.
DKO.
Good evening.
Yeah. The issue of Atiku and Wike, you see, the southern governors are the cause of this problem. Their houses are divided before going for the election. And also, we in southern states, especially southwest, we put our eggs in one basket. You hardly seen some big men from southwest in PDP. Everybody are in APC. So assuming we have some big men in APC in southwest, things will have been better. It's like the northerners are finding it easier to deal with us in southwest than other southern region. So that's my contributions.
Thank you, Adisa, for your contribution. Dari, so after that, they have a demand that Atiku should not run for more than one term. He should be a member. The Wike's people want to be represented in his campaign committee and ultimately in his cabinet by the time he forms government. And lastly, that he should not run more than a term.
These are conditions. And if what appears like the simplest of it all, that I should obey a previous agreement, follow the tradition of PDP and resign, is already raising so much dust. You heard him say it quite and clear, I'm not going anywhere. If that condition is already becoming problematic, you can imagine asking somebody going in for a first term, somebody who was vice president for 8 years, who understands what power is, somebody who has been struggling to be president since 1992, and you are now giving him the condition to sign that he will not do more than one term. Somebody who is going in there to represent a particular region, who also feels that everybody is entitled to more than a single term. By the time he emerges president, if it happens, you hear the northeast saying, when Southwest was there, they did 8 years. When Northwest was there, they did 8 years. Even South, why should it be our own turn now? You say, it will not be a blanket North issue again. So I strongly believe that the PDP, both Atiku's camp and Wike's camp, will have to find a meeting point, a neutral
I thought they are beginning
point.
to work on that already.
And that's what they should work on. All these conditions,
that meeting did not.
all these conditions, should they be rigid, there will be no way forward. Of course, if Atiku wants to,
if they go ahead to suspend Wike for anti-party activity, at this point,
that will
help the APC. I
It's
don't think they will be dumb to do that. I don't think so.
It will just be, they shoot themselves in the leg.
All those resources. Look, even in the southeast and south, Atiku is already being given problems by the Obi people. Because I was in Imo State.
It's vote for...
And that's the traditional stronghold
for the
of the PDP. So your legs are shaking even in your traditional stronghold. You want to suspend a governor.
On the south side.
Like this person. I don't think that is what they are considering. The sensible thing is to manage him properly. China, I mean, a bull in a China shop. If you aggressively try to push him out of the shop, it's going to destroy all your enamel wear that you have there. So the thing is to manage him.
And guide him.
They managed him in the past. They managed him in the past. They managed him even before the election in Edo. Eventually, they worked together, and victory came. They managed him in the past, so it's possible to manage him on this. There is nothing bad in having his people represented in government, because it's a factor. He could have won the primaries, if not for Tambua. He could easily have won the primaries. In fact, he thought he had won, because his own speech, he was saying, I came to thank you. He was not talking about what he would do. He was not even begging the people to vote for him. He thought by his hard work that he had won. And a lot of his men were the ones who won the primaries. Wike ensured that even Dino did not win in Kogi State. He spread his people all over. So that's a man who has capacity. So is that sort of person you just simply suspend him? When they think his influence is limited to Rivers. Check what happened in the primaries across the states.
In Nasarawa.
You will see that his men triumphed in so many places. So as long as they remain loyal to him and they are his people, if you do that, they will work against you in the election and you will regret it.
All right. From food items to fuel, gas, and essential services, prices of things in Nigeria are on the rise, and it can only lead to one thing: high inflation. The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, says the country's headline inflation rates increased to 19.64% in July, the highest since 2005. In the Consumer Price Index for July, released in Abuja on Monday, the Statistician General of the Federation and the Chief Executive Officer of the NBS, Semiu Adeniran, said this is 2.27% higher than the rate recorded in July 2021, which was 17.38%. Barry, there's fire on the mountain.
That was Asha. He sang that song to remind us of where we have found ourselves recently in Abuja. The statistics are helpful.
19.64%, double digits.
Ayo, these statistics, I merely see them as helpful. Put them aside. face reality. Look at what is happening. Small fish like this that I was selling for 350, 400. If you don't have 1, 2, 1, 4, you can't buy. Ask madam. You see, some of us men have just been using oboju, what Yoruba call oboju, to manage the kitchen department at home. Because what you were giving them before now, ask them, they will tell you they spend times 2, times 3. And when they ask for increment, because salary is not going up, everything except salary is increasing in Nigeria. Now that the records are showing us, statisticians are showing us that look at the increment. It is not only food, fuel. We are all living witness to that. Gas is, in fact, almost a no-no for most families now. And we think this will go on this way and there will be no uproar. Nigerians are very resilient people. We always find a way of managing. And it is that part of us that makes it look like, well, things are not as bad as they are. Things are worse than we think. Market women will tell you that everything is affecting what they buy. And by the time they now put their personal problems and needs on the same market, you can imagine. You cannot go into the retail shops. You cannot go to K2 market and still buy. You cannot buy frozen food, fish, meat, and what have you. You cannot also buy one fish and retail chicken at Ojota. People eat what they see now, not what they want. Gone are the days when mothers ask their children, are you satisfied? Shoti you? No. The question now is, have you eaten? Shoti jẹun. And it is because the little that is available will have to be managed by everybody. And Ayo, it is not getting better by the day. In my opinion, we need to take a good look. Many reasons are being given for this. They talk about kidnapping that is not making people go to farm. They talk about fuel price. But the bottom line is food is gradually leaving the tables of Nigerians. And it is something to seriously worry about. Something to seriously worry about.
Some people will argue that this is not peculiar to Nigeria alone. That protest in some worldwide problem that is not peculiar to Nigeria alone. That we should not be raising this kind of alarm.
I am always worried when it's only negative examples that Nigerians can bring forward. People who are happy to see us in the company of laggards, in the company of countries that are not doing well, they should be ashamed of themselves. Our currency is weak. The US dollar is at its strongest
ever
in many years. So what is wrong in the Nigerian currency being strong? Why can't they make such examples? That, oh, our currency is strong, just the way the US currency is strong. They won't bring examples. The other day we were looking at the rate, the exchange rate of the South African currency to the dollar. And then look at your own. You know that we are deceiving ourselves. We can't continue to go through what we are going now. Government has not run the economy the right way. It is the worst management of the Nigerian economy since 1999. And Rewane came out with the statistics. Across all parameters, the performance of the administration is the worst since 1999. You can even see, even this present inflation rate, 19.64, is the highest since 2005. Statistics don't lie.
Yes, just quoted.
So, yes, countries are going through all kinds of problems. But you look at a country like Ghana. Ghana came up with allowances to cushion the effect of inflation. Have we come up with that? Have we? We are not saying
Ghanaian cedis side by side with Naira now.
We are not saying that people are not, that countries are not going through a lot. But what are we doing? It's getting worse. Nobody seems to be trying to slam the brakes on these economic problems we are facing. Wow. Look at bread. The same bread that I used to buy at 200, 250, like 1.5 years today, was what I bought for 1,200. Go and check. Go to the market now. Everything, whether it's butter, everything, the price has gone up. And diesel, some Nigerians who do not really think, who were excited when Putin invaded Ukraine. That invasion is the reason diesel prices have gone up.
Yep.
Now, the diesel prices that have gone up has affected virtually everything. People who are bakers are using diesel in their bakeries, the big bakeries, they are using diesel. These trucks that carry food from different parts of our country, it is diesel that they are using, and the price has gone up. They too will definitely increase. If you are building a house in your village now in Ondo State, and you need to move some things, maybe you bought some furniture here, you want to move them to your village. If they were taking 120 from you last year, the diesel prices that moved from 225 to 810 or 850 will ensure that they take between 350 to 400,000 from you. That is the way it is.
Even PSP is affected.
Yes, because Lagos is dirtier now. Because the access to diesel is a problem for them. Most of the trucks are
not working.
No, they don't have diesel. Diesel is expensive.
Something happened today. Sorry, BKO. And because of the traffic from Ikorodu, I had to take BRT. I've been using BRT since it started because it's convenient for me to be. For the first time in almost how many years, the BRT I took left Ikorodu terminal and stopped at a filling station to refuel. I've never seen it happen before. Now they're now buying small. I asked the driver, what is this? Now I dozed off because I like taking nap.
They increase the...
They increase the fare. BKO. The guy stopped to buy small fuel. He didn't even stay long. Ordinarily, I expect that with this stop, he want to fill his tank. He just bought maybe 2,000 or 3,000.
Fill tank with diesel.
I went to the driver and asked.
Hotels have raised their rates.
Yeah.
Their rates, they've raised. Everything. This diesel thing, this clothes that you are wearing is a product of diesel.
All production.
It's a product of diesel because the manufacturers will need to put diesel in their plants to oil it to remain in production. So diesel affects virtually everything. We are here now in this studio. It's diesel.
You are consuming diesel.
Public electricity is non-existent.
That's a no-no.
In a season of rampant system collapses. So now, if the MBS had come up with something lower than this, it will have been apparent that this is rigging. Because the diesel alone is affecting all other things.
Even farming. Because mechanized farming.
Yes, you need to.
Okay, I have Engineer Afolabi from Songo. Thank you for joining us, Engineer.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
I greet everybody in the studio.
Go ahead, sir.
I am Engineer Afolabi, like I said. You see, let us look at it at the other angle. You see, when it comes to trading, because there is no way you will not have other trading that will affect your own trade. And in this era of where we find ourselves, why can't we encourage the frontier trading between, like, Lagos, Cotonou, where you can buy fish or whatever, even rice. Those things that we need, we think that are money. We can choose their own, seek a way of addressing the issue of trading, whereby you don't need to buy the land before you go and bring fish to Lagos or the suburbs. or other areas. But when we stick,
Thank you,
that
Engineer.
nothing should.
Thank you for your contribution.
The weaker our currency gets against the dollar, the weaker ultimately it gets against even other currencies around us. Anything that is imported, even if it is from Cotonou that you are bringing in, because our currency is weak, those things, the prices will go up. It's inevitable. We've got to manage the currency better, make our currency strong. A lot of even this inflation is driven by forex illiquidity. That is even airlines. See how they've gone. It's part of inflation that we are talking about.
Yes.
Even airlines. That's why when I talk about transportation. A one-way trip to Lagos last, I think last Friday, I was showing it to our deputy financial controller, Victoria. I said, see, 153,000 for a one-way trip to Lagos. I had to show her. I said, this is unheard of. Yeah. And the cheapest on the day was 89,000.
One-way trip.
One-way trip. When sometime in the 90s, it was 1,000 naira from Kaduna.
No, that was far away. At least 3 years ago, it was 16,000. 15.
No, even this year, you could still, if you decided to buy a ticket early online,
yes, 16,000, 17,000.
Well, suddenly,
you don't find such thing again.
How can people cope? And we don't want to travel by road.
It might not go down.
And when it came down to 87,000. We are celebrating.
Look, when he was saying some families are now avoiding gas, what is the alternative? Kerosene. Kerosene went to 1,000 naira per liter.
Yes.
Kerosene that we used to buy 550 naira per liter went to 1,000 naira per liter here in Lagos. Kerosene used to be for the poor man.
Wow.
So the question is, what really
That's
going
why
on?
you
Where
find
are we going?
some households now.
No, you go for
firewood.
Thank you for your contribution, Dari Dufalcon. And welcome back, BKO.
Thanks.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. Join us on Sunday for Journalist Hangout on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Zubaku. See you tomorrow.
When you think of a university, you think of a place where you will go to cut out your future. And when you get there, you realize there's a lot more to it. The beautiful structures, facilities, and ambience.